Hello everyone and welcome back to another video here on my channel. In today's video I'm going to be showing you guys how to build this humongous iron farm behind me, and trust me, this iron farm, even though it looks quite big, is a piece of cake to build, and it produces tons upon tons of iron. And the reason that I'm making this video here today is because a couple of you guys have been asking me how I create my iron farms, and you wanted to know how to build one yourself. So I'm making this tutorial so that you guys have an insight on how to make a super efficient iron farm so that you guys can build it in your own world and get tons upon tons of iron yourself. And originally this farm wasn't built by me. It was built by Tango Tek on the Hermitcraft server last season, where he built a huge iron farm and it produced loads and loads of iron golems. However, since the 1.16.2 update, a lot of things have broken in this farm, so I went ahead and took everything into my own hands and built the farm again, but I made a lot of tweaks to it to make it more consistent and actually work in the future updates. So now if you guys are playing in 1.16.2 or any update further than that, this farm will work fine and will produce loads of iron golems for you guys. So if you guys are going to build this farm, make sure you include all of the fixes I've added so that this farm actually works in this version and doesn't break like Tango Tek's old design. And the reason that I tweaked this farm in particular here is because recently I built this farm in my own survival world and it works perfectly. It produces loads of iron golems and collects me loads of iron. And also you can stack this farm here. It's actually tileable, so you can stack it on top of each other and get more and more iron golems as you continue progressing onwards. And I think it's the perfect design for a late survival world. If you guys are very developed in your world, I highly recommend building this one here because it can produce tons of it. I'll be showing you guys how to build it over here as well later on in today's episode, and I'll show you guys how you could stack that. Of course, I'm only going to be showing you guys how to build one layer and then how you can stack another layer on top of that, and then you guys can continue stacking it as many times as you'd like to. And even if you don't want to stack the iron farm, this iron farm alone produces loads of golems. In fact, every 1 second or so, 4 golems are spawned on these platforms here. So basically you get 4 golems from every platform. So just from 5 platforms here, you get 20 golems, which is an insane amount of iron. And actually, now that I think about it, what better way of showing you guys how productive this iron farm is over here than actually running it myself and showing you guys how many iron golems it produces. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is activate the farm, and then you guys can see how many iron golems it produces, and we can go ahead and count them at the bottom there. Now, like I mentioned earlier, this should produce 20 golems. However, one thing you might experience when you're building this farm for yourself is that the golems spawn rate might fluctuate just a little bit. So even though 20 golems should spawn on these platforms here, sometimes you might get 19 or 18 golems spawning from all of this, but that's completely fine. And in fact, that's just the game mechanic with the villagers not ending up seeing the zombies sometimes. So don't worry, that's completely natural, and most of the time you'll still get the maximum amount of 20 golems. Anyway, let's go ahead and turn on the farm so that you can see this in action. Alright, so we just drop down into the redstone over here, and actually before we go ahead and flick this on off switch for the iron farm, let's go ahead and look at this redstone. Now you can see it's pretty simple and it won't take a lot of materials to build, and I'll show you guys how to do that in depth later on when we do this tutorial. Anyway, let's go ahead and just get straight into activating the farm here, which is just controlled with this lever. So let's go ahead and flick this lever here, and this should activate the farm, and you can see that iron golems will start to spawn very shortly right in front of us. There you go. You can see a whole bunch of iron golems have spawned, and that should be very close to 20, maybe 19 or 18 like I mentioned earlier because of the fluctuation issue. But don't worry, it should still produce a whole load. So if you just press this button here, we can see how many iron golems we got, and from the looks of it, it looks like 20. Let's go ahead, press it. We got 19 that time, and you can see that's still a lot of iron golems, so you're still going to get loads of iron, and it's all worth the effort of building the iron farm. Anyway, with all of that covered now, I think we're ready just to jump straight into our tutorial over here and how you guys can actually build it. Because now we've already talked about the fluctuation issue, how this farm works with villagers getting scared, and all of that. So let's go ahead and just jump straight into building this, and what I'll do is I'll show you guys how to build the first layer entirely over here, which includes all the redstone, and then I'll show you guys how to connect it up with the redstone torch tower, and then show you guys how to build partially the second floor, because you guys will know what to do after that point, because it's basically just a replication of the first floor. And then I'll show you guys a couple other things like the fixes that are required to build this farm and make it work in this version of the game. And then I'll go ahead and show you guys optional things like these glass trims on the side and a few other things. So let's go ahead and just jump straight into the tutorial, and I hope you guys are going to like this. And when you build this farm for yourself, I highly recommend not building 5 layers like I did. If you want to, you can do that, and if you guys are extremely advanced, you can even build higher. But one thing that I recommend is when you're building this farm and you guys want a good amount of iron, not too little, not too much, then I highly recommend making 2 levels. And if you're at the beginning of the game, only make 1 level. But anyway, let's go ahead and jump straight into the tutorial and the build list. So the build list overall is actually super simple and doesn't require too much, and you might not have all the materials at first at the beginning of your world, which is completely understandable. I don't, expect you guys to have all these materials over here, but don't worry if you don't have the materials and you want to build this farm badly. You can always just build an easier farm at the beginning, and then later on when you're more advanced in your world, go ahead and build this one here, which I highly recommend. And if you do manage to pull off building this one at the beginning of your world, it's super good because you guys will get lots of iron. Anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at the build material list. So you can see it doesn't require a whole lot, and in terms of the eggs, you guys of course are not going to be using eggs like I am in creative. You're going to have to actually get the villagers and the zombies the organic way. But other than that, you can see that the list is actually pretty simple, and these are actually not accurate. You can see you don't actually need 64 repeaters, you probably only need like 20, and you're not going to need a stack of stone bricks, you're actually going to need a more. But I can't actually count all of that because this is a whole lot, and that's kind of unspecified for how many levels you're going to build. So let's just go ahead and take a closer look at all the materials you're going to require. So in terms of building blocks, you're going to need some bricks, some stone bricks, or any sort of building block, full block in that matter. Then you're going to need some slabs, some walls, some glass, some workbenches. It can be any type as long as it's a full block. Okay, don't use lecterns or composters. You need a full block one. Then you need trapdoors, some water. Yeah, I said it in the British way, water. You need some beds, you need some fence gates, and then in terms of redstone, you need some blocks of redstone. Actually, you don't need some, you only need one, just for that part there. So you need 1 block of redstone, you need some redstone dust, some comparators, you need some repeaters, redstone torches for the torch tower, some levers, maybe 1 or 2, sticky pistons, hoppers, and some temporary blocks like dirt will do as well. Alright, so go ahead and grab all your materials from your chest over here and plop them into your inventory. And now what we can go ahead and do is jump straight into the building process. And the first thing that we're going to end up creating is the redstone circuitry over here, which is actually going to be the hardest part of the farm. But don't worry, with my guidance, it's actually super easy. And in fact, it's not hard at all. It's just hard compared to the rest of the farm, which is extremely easy. Anyway, let's just go ahead and jump straight into the building process. Alright, so first up, what you want to go ahead and do is grab your temporary blocks, and you want to find where you want to build your farm, of course, and start building up, because you need this farm to be off the ground so that the killing chamber is a reasonable distance away from the farm itself. So what we're going to do is grab our temporary blocks and build up 9 blocks. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, and once you got this little tower over here, you want to go ahead and place 2 blocks like so. Just use the blocks whatever you're using. In this instance, I'm using stone bricks. Then go ahead and place another block here so that you've got kind of like a small kind of L shape kind of thing. And then you want to go ahead and extend it out 1, 2, 3 blocks this side, and then 1, 2 blocks like this, so that you should have something very similar to what I've got here. Now what you want to go ahead and do is from this middle section here, you want to extend it 2 blocks like this, and then extend it another 2 blocks like so, so that you've got like another L shape attached to this shape you've got over here. So after you've got this shape over here, what you want to go ahead and do is place a few more blocks in this direction. So you're going to place 2 blocks like this, and you want to extend that another 4 times. So you want to just repeat that. So that's 2, 3, 4, and because we're extending it 4 times, it's actually 5 blocks. So you should have something very similar to this. So once you've got the L shape, they should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blocks long, and it should be too thick, just something very similar to this. And then what you want to go ahead and do is come to this side over here where the L shape is coming out of, and place another block like this. Then go underneath that block, place another block, and then bring that out once again. And then you should have a very odd looking shape similar to this one here. Then what we're going to do is extend this part over here. So you want to place another block like this, and then go out one more block from this side, and then 2 blocks from this side over here. Then after that, you want to actually place a temporary block on both of these outer corners, and then place another stone bricks block on the outside of that, so you get a shape similar to this. Then what you want to go ahead and do is actually place a block here on both sides, and you should have something very similar to this. It should be 4 blocks long connecting to this little kind of L shape, and then you should have another 2 blocks like this, and there should be no block underneath that upper block. Okay, so now at this point you should see that everything is starting to come together, and this is where you want to start pulling out your slabs, because this is going to be a very important role in actually making this farm work. Otherwise, if you do not place these slabs, some things might get broken. So what you want to do is come to this point here where the original L was, and just place a block like this, and then place another stone brick slab on top of that. Then come down to the end here, and you want to place a slab here, and then a stone brick block here with another slab on top. Then finally, there's one more thing you need to do, which is place a temporary block down here, place another stone brick block, and then break the temporary block, and then place another stone brick slab. So you should get something very similar to this. And then last but not least, go ahead and place slabs on both of these blocks over here. And now we can go ahead and start laying out our redstone components on this base that we've got. So pull out your redstone dust, and what you want to do is place redstone dust all across this length over here, except for these 2 corners where we're going to eventually put repeaters. Then you want to go ahead and extend this redstone dust down this direction here, and then place one more in this spot here, just opposite from this block. And then the only time you're actually ever going to need redstone other than that part there is place some redstone here, just like that. And then you want to place a redstone dust over there, and then another piece of redstone dust over here. Now you're technically all done for the redstone on the first level, other than the part where you're going to extend it later on. But now all you have to do is actually pull out your other redstone components like the comparators and repeaters, and we're going to start working with those now. Alright, so let's go ahead and place the repeaters first. So what you want to go ahead and do is place a repeater down here, and then place a repeater on both of the ends of these so that they're facing outwards. Now this one you want to keep at the same tick. However, these you're going to right click twice so that you have it at this tick here, and do the same for this corner one as well. And then for the repeaters down here, what you want to go ahead and do is place a repeater facing into this block here, and then a repeater coming out of that block and going into this redstone circuitry over here. And then what you want to go ahead and do is make this go all the way to the end. So click it 3 times so that it's at the full tick. So place it 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, just like so. So you can see that it's at the full tick. Then what you want to go ahead and do is grab your comparators and place them twice, going into this block here, and then going out of this redstone circuitry over here, so that you should have a little bit of a redstone pulse extender, just like so. Then you want to grab your redstone torch and place it under that block there, and also grab your levers as well, because you're going to want to place one here and one here as well. Then what you want to also do is go ahead and place the comparator in this position and another comparator in this position. Now is the time you have to pull out your sticky pistons, your redstone blocks, and also your hoppers, because we're going to be using them now. So go ahead and place your sticky piston coming out of that redstone dust there, and go ahead and repeat that on the other side. Now what you want to go ahead and do is place your block of redstone, and you should have some sticky pistons and a block of redstone looking like that. Now for the hoppers, they need to be facing each other. So what you want to actually do first is place a temporary block like this, then place your hopper facing into that temporary block, break that, and then place another hopper facing into the original hopper, so that if you come look at it from underneath, you should see that they're facing each other. And one thing you might have noticed when all of that happened there is that the redstone circuitry actually turned on. So what you want to do is actually turn off the farm and do this here. Then what you want to do is place a comparator and place it right there so that it's facing into that block where the lever is. And last but not least, just to prevent further spawning on these blocks here, you want to grab your slabs, place them on the hoppers and the sticky pistons and the redstone block. And then you might have one air gap, but go ahead and place a slab over that as well so that you get a shape like this. And now your redstone circuitry is almost done, believe it or not. So the only thing you really need to do now is go ahead and place a sticky piston on the ends of both of these blocks here, and then go ahead and place some stone brick blocks on top of that. And that's all your redstone complete. So now at this point we can go ahead and start creating our villager and zombie holding cells, which will basically control the entire farm. So let's go ahead and jump straight into building that. And first we'll start off with the zombie one, which is pretty simple. So what you're going to do is place a temporary block here and a temporary block like so. Then go ahead and place some glass on all the sides around it, just like this, so that you get kind of like a flower or kind of star shape, whatever you like to call it. And then destroy the temporary block, so that you can see it's kind of like a containment kind of thing over here. And then you want to go ahead and place blocks on top of those glass blocks like this, so that you get kind of like a holding cell for the zombies so that they can't escape. So go ahead and do that on both sides here, and those are basically your zombie holding cells. And one thing to keep in mind is actually don't put your zombies in just yet, because they'll die in the sun, of course. And also you want to put in your zombies after you put in your villagers. So go ahead and wait before you put in your zombies and your villagers. But now one thing you can actually do, because we completed all of this, is actually remove your temporary block pillar, because you won't really be needing that anymore. Alright, so let's go ahead and start creating the villager places. So what you're going to do is come to our redstone circuitry over here and break the slab on top of this piston here and replace it with a full block instead. Then go ahead and extend it one further and place another block so that you got two like this. Then go ahead and place your workbenches and place them in kind of a small L shape like this. And then go ahead and place another two stone bricks like so. And then from this corner here, place another two. And this is basically the base of where your villagers are going to be kept. And we're going to repeat that another 3 times for all the corners, because we're going to actually require 12 villagers on each level. So what you want to do then is start working on the other corners. So you want to come from this side over here and grab your temporary blocks and start counting 7 blocks. So you want to place 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And this is where we're going to start this corner over here. So you want to place 1, 2 like this. Then place your workbenches. Then on this corner here, place another 2. And then from here, place another 2 coming out in this direction. So you get something like this. And then you can go ahead and remove your temporary blocks once again. Now one thing to keep in mind is when we're starting to build this corner over here, we're not going to be counting 7 blocks out. Instead, we're going to be counting 6 blocks out. So for this side over here, we're going to be counting 6. Just keep that in mind. So you want to place 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 temporary blocks like so. And then place 2 stone brick blocks. Place your workbenches in the L shape. And then this time you're going to bring your stone bricks in this direction here. And again, just so that it's got a shape like this. Now go ahead and remove your temporary blocks. And now we're finally going to move on to the last corner, which is pretty simple. Now the last side is pretty simple. What you want to do is go ahead and count another 7 blocks from this point here, like we did over there. Alternatively, you can count 6 blocks from here, but just for the sake of not running into the redstone, we're going to do it from this side here. So what you want to do is count 7 blocks. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then go ahead and place your 2 stone bricks like so. And then grab your workbenches and place them in your L shape. Then place another 2 stone bricks like this time. And then go ahead and extend the point over here another 2 times with your stone bricks again. And then go ahead and remove the temporary blocks, of course. Alright, so basically at this point in time, your shape should look something very similar to mine, what we've got here basically. And you should see that the corners should outline a sort of square shape. And if you guys have made any mistakes, you can actually just pause the video right now and just take a closer look at what we've gone ahead and created. Now what we can go ahead and do is start placing in our beds, and we're going to place them on top of these stone brick blocks, but make sure that the pillow side is facing towards the cartography table. So for instance, we're going to place the beds like this, so that all the pillows are facing towards these sides. And now you want to go ahead and repeat that for all of these 3 corners that remain. So basically I've gone ahead and done that for you guys, so you can see all the pillows face towards the cartography tables. Otherwise, if you do not do that, the villagers will end up actually escaping from their little cubby holes over here and end up dying or falling to the ground here and running off. Now I'm going to show you guys how to install some required safety features that make the villagers stand on these cartography tables only and make sure that they don't jump off either side. Now this is a very crucial step, so make sure you pay close attention because otherwise it might result in your iron farm breaking. And the best way to show that to you guys is actually just taking a closer look at these trapdoors over here. So you might have noticed that these trapdoors on this edge are on the inside of the block, whereas these ones are on the outside. And there's a huge reason for that. Basically, when iron golems spawn on this side over here, they need to drop straight down into the killing chamber and not get caught on anything. And if these trapdoors are on the outside, that will mean that they can get caught on the trapdoors, which is always a bad thing. So you must have these on the inside, which means that these must be on the outside. And you can see that's the same case for these as well. These trapdoors are on the inside of the block and those ones are on the outside. And the same goes for these two corners as well. So make sure when you're doing that to keep that in mind, where your iron golems are falling down and where they're not. So basically place your trapdoors where they're falling down on the inside and where they're not on the outside. And I'll quickly go ahead and show that to you guys. So what we're going to do is place some temporary blocks like this. So because our iron golems are falling down this side over here, we're going to place our trapdoors on the outside here and flip them down. And then for this side, because they're falling down here, what you want to go ahead and do is place them on the inside. So what we're going to do is place some temporary blocks like this and then place our trapdoors so that you can see that these are on the inside of this block here and these are on the outside. And go ahead and repeat that for all of these corners here. And there we go. I've gone ahead and placed the trapdoors on all the corners here in the correct positions, and hopefully you guys have as well. But just to make sure that you guys have done it properly, I'm going to go ahead and look around all the corners here so that you guys can get a closer look at the trapdoor formation and so that you don't make any mistakes. So if you come to this corner here, you can see that these are on the outside because there's no iron golems falling here, and these ones are on the inside so nothing gets stuck. Same goes over here. These are on the inside, those are on the outside. These are also on the outside, and these are on the inside because the iron golems are falling down this side over here, and the same goes for this over here. So these are on the inside of the block and these are on the outside, and hopefully you all got that right. And now finally, one more thing that you need to add is actually place down a temporary block on all the beds here, just like this. Place some temporary blocks. Then what you want to do is place another temporary block and place a slab on top of that, and then go ahead and place another slab connecting to that, and you should have something like this. So you can see that you got the two temporary blocks and then you got some slabs on top of that with a slab gap as well. And you want to do that for all the places which have beds. So you want to do the same here. So you want to place a temporary block and place some slabs on top of that, and then do the same here. And then you want to go ahead and remove your temporary blocks, of course. And then do the same for all of these places as well. So place your temporary blocks on all the beds, and then you want to go ahead and place slabs on top of all of that as well. And make sure there's a slab gap as well. And this is just basically a requirement so that the villagers can't walk on top of the beds and run out. Alright, so I've gone ahead and finished the rest off camera, as you can see. So now we've got slabs over every single bed over here. And basically I just continue to do what I told you guys, which is place a temporary block, leave a slab gap, and then place another slab on top of that. And you should do that for all the beds, and make sure that you don't do that in any other place, otherwise it might end up destroying your farm. So do it only on top of the beds. But with all of that said, now all of your villager platforms and all your mob holding cells are fully complete. So now we can move on to building the iron golem spawning platforms, which push them off to their demise. So go ahead and grab your stone bricks, your walls, your water, your fence gates, and let's go ahead and start creating this. Alright, so the first thing that you want to do is grab your blocks, and you want to go ahead and outline this corner over here. So place 2 blocks here and 2 blocks here, and then go ahead and make another little L shape so that it's all connected just like this, and you should see it lines up with this corner over here. Now go ahead and do that for all of these sides as well. And with that done, you should get a shape very similar to this. And then what you want to do after that is connect these 2 sides up over here in the middle, and these 2 as well. And then you can see that we're starting to get the outline of our platforms where the iron golems are going to spawn. So then what you want to do after that is extend these points out 1 block further on both sides, and do the same on this side over here. And now you want to connect both of these corners up together. So you just want to fill that in like this, and just bring it all the way to the end, and do the same for this side here as well. And now we've got the full outline of our iron golem spawning platforms. And if you've done it correctly, you should have it 5 in width over here and 15 in length. Anyway, let's go ahead and fill the rest of these platforms in with the remainder of your blocks. Now once you've got to this point over here where all your platforms are filled in and everything is complete, then what you want to go ahead and do is grab your wall blocks. So what you want to do is put them into your inventory and come one out of this platform over here and place a wall, and then go ahead and align it so that it fits the entire length of the platform. So once you got the wall stretching this entire length over here, you want to go ahead and extend it on either side just like this, and then make it match the entire width as well. And then once you make it match the entire width, you want to bring it out another 2 blocks. So bring it out 1, 2, and then go ahead and repeat the same thing what you've done over there on this side over here. And at this point in time, your platform should be looking similar to this, so that you've got walls around all of this side over here. You've got your platform, and then what you want to do is grab your stone brick blocks again, place one on either side over here at the end of both of these walls, and then connect them up in the middle. And once you've gone ahead and connected them up, simply just go ahead and place slabs on top of the blocks. And now your platform is almost entirely done. All you need to grab now is some water and some fence gates as well. And what you want to do is place your fence gates in this position here so that it's 1 block off the edge of the platform, and then go ahead and align the entire side with your fence gates. Once that's gone ahead and completed, go ahead and place your water along this entire side here so that it flows towards the fence gates. And then once that's completed, go ahead and open your fence gates so that the water doesn't flow through, but the iron golems can still drop down. And with that complete, your iron golem spawning platform is all done. All you have to do is replicate it on this side over here and flip it so that the water is flowing down on this side. And just to save you guys a little bit of time, I've gone ahead and done that myself. So you can see all the water is flowing in that direction there, and everything else is flipped. And believe it or not, your entire iron farm is now completely finished, and only thing you need to add now is the villagers and the zombies themselves. So if you guys are doing this in survival, the best way I recommend for you guys to do this is using minecarts and rails. However, you can do it any way you'd like to. But I'm just going to go ahead and place them in with my eggs, and you guys can see how this farm is going to operate with just 1 layer. So go ahead and place your villagers on these cartography tables over here, or at least get minecarts and try and lure them into this area, and go ahead and do that on all the corners. And you want to have 3 on each corner, 1 assigned to every cartography table. And hopefully if you've done everything right, they should assign themselves to the cartography tables and the beds. Now go ahead and place your zombies in, and they shouldn't die from sunlight because you've got the platforms over them. And then go ahead and place one in here as well. And make sure if you're using this farm to go ahead and give them items, and if they don't hold anything, go ahead and give them a name tag as well. And in this instance, I'm giving them the name tag, quack quack, I'm a moose, because, you know, that's the sound moose makes. Anyway, now your entire first floor is done, and I can show it off to you guys. So in order for this farm to work, you actually need to wait a night for all of these villagers to sleep and assign to these beds, because if they do not sleep, then they will not be able to start producing iron golems. But anyway, once you waited the first night and all of these villagers have assigned themselves to the bed, you can go ahead and turn on the farm. And the process is pretty simple. So all you want to do is basically put some blocks into this hopper clock, and the best amount of blocks I recommend is a stack and 8. So I'm going to go ahead and grab 8 blocks here, place a stack and 8, flick this lever on here, which will turn on the farm, and this farm will start to work. So basically what will happen is these blocks in the hopper clock over here will start to sort themselves out, as you can see, and basically the blocks are just a timer. So once all the blocks reach this hopper here, the farm will turn on and these zombies will be lifted and start producing iron golems, and hopefully I can show that off to you guys. And hopefully any minute now the zombies should be raised. There you go, you can see they've raised, and iron golems should be produced. There you go, you can see 4 iron golems have been produced because we've only got 1 layer so far, and everything is working wonders. And when you want to go ahead and turn off the farm, go ahead and flick this lever over here so that it remains on, and this will basically disable everything on the farm except for the hopper clock, which will continue to run, but don't worry, that won't do anything, and basically it will turn your farm off. And with all of that explained to you guys, let's go ahead and show you guys how to stack this farm on top of each other and how you can make this more than 1 layer. And actually, just quickly before I show you guys how to stack this farm, if you guys are getting annoyed by the hopper clock sounds, what you can go ahead and do is actually place a lever here and go ahead and flick that on, and basically that will just lock the hoppers so that no items are moved around and it won't make any noise. But that's basically not going to do anything even if you leave it on or off. That's just a personal preference of my own. Anyway, so what you want to do for stacking this farm is go ahead and place a block here right beside this repeater. Then go ahead and place a redstone torch on top of that, then another block, and then another redstone torch, and basically keep repeating that multiple times. And when you continue to do that, you might have noticed that a redstone torch tower has emerged, and basically this is going to connect up to the next layer of your iron farm. So what you want to do is grab your temporary blocks and count 5 blocks from this wall here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then place your stone bricks at this level. And this part over here with the stone bricks is actually just this part over here where the sticky pistons and all of this redstone lining is attached to. So basically that's just going to be replicated on this floor as well. So you want to make it the same length again. So this is going to be the middle. You want to count out 1, 2, 3 from this side and 1, 2 from this side. And then go ahead and remove your temporary blocks. Place some redstone here, here, and here. And then go ahead and place your repeaters in both of these positions as well and put them to the same tick like those repeaters. And since this is a replication of what we did down there, basically all you have to do is add some sticky pistons on either side here, place some stone brick blocks on top of that, and then go ahead and encase them with glass so that it can hold your zombies. And don't actually add this extra redstone on the side over here, this hopper clock and all of that, because you won't be needing it. So basically everything from this point onwards you won't be needing. So don't add any of this redstone components over here or any of this redstone circuitry, and just go ahead and leave it at that. And then at this point over here, you can go ahead and attach your redstone line to your redstone torch tower. And basically this is pretty simple. Make sure you attach it not to a redstone torch that is on, but rather to one that is off. So what I'm going to do is basically place some redstone lines going down here and attach it to this redstone torch. So I'm going to place some redstone coming off that and some redstone there so that it's not actually on, but that it actually connects to this point here. And it doesn't really matter where the redstone connects up to as long as it's connecting to this line. So basically this redstone line here at the top should just be a replication of what you did down there. And if that one is off, this should be off as well. And if that is on, this should be on as well. And now, like I said, you can go ahead and encase these places with glass like I told you earlier. And you can continue to build these villager modules and build them all around the zombie holding cells so that you can start creating your second layer. And I'm sure all of you guys already know how to do that, because you can just skip back to the beginning part of my episode and start building these villager modules once again. And of course, once you've gone ahead and built those, go ahead and build the iron spawning platforms, and then your second layer is all done, and you can build a third layer, fourth layer, fifth layer, even if you would like to. And that's my tutorial done, and I hope you guys really enjoyed it. And when you guys are continuing to build your next layers or so, continue to extend this redstone torch tower so that everything connects up. And if you might have noticed over here, there's something a little bit different that I've done on this side rather than this side over here. And that is, of course, adding in some glass trims on either side. And this is completely optional and it's not mandatory. Basically what happens is when you're building multiple layers, sometimes the iron golems, when they fall down from this water here, might get stuck on this bit of blocks or these slabs over here. So basically to prevent that, I've gone ahead and placed some glass so that the iron golems can't actually fit through this gap, and they just hit the wall and go straight down if they manage to ever come to this edge. And basically the main reason for that is because if the iron golems ever get to this point over here and get stuck on this lip, then basically it will stop the productivity of your farm, and it may mean the iron golems can escape. But anyway, with all of that being said, today's iron farm video has come to an end. So I hope you guys really did enjoy this one and found it super useful as well. So now if you ever need to build Tango Tek's iron farm, which I highly recommend because it's super useful and productive, now you guys know how to do it with the help of my tutorial, and it will produce tons of iron for you guys. Anyway though, with all of that being said, I hope you guys really did have a fun time watching today's video, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!